I watched my phone light up with 17 missed calls in less than 10 minutes. My daughter's name flashed across the screen again and again, then my son's, then my daughter-in-law's. The panic in their messages was almost poetic. "Mom, please call back. Mom, what did you do? Mom, you can't do this." But I could, and I did. Hi there. My name is Hazel Mitchell, and I'm 67 years old. I live in a quiet suburb outside of Columbus, Ohio, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought I was living the life I'd worked so hard to build. Welcome to my channel. Before I tell you what happened, I'd love to know where you're all watching from. Drop your city or state in the comments below. It helps me know I'm not alone in this. Now, let me take you back to where this all started. For 43 years, I was married to Richard Mitchell. We built a good life together. He was an engineer, I was a school teacher, and we raised 2 children, Jennifer and Michael, in a 4-bedroom colonial that we paid off 15 years ago. Richard passed away 4 years ago from a sudden heart attack. One day he was here, planning our retirement cruise, and the next day he was gone. Grief is a strange thing. It doesn't hit you all at once. It comes in waves, usually when you least expect it. For me, it came every time I opened the mail and saw his name still on the accounts, still on the bills, still everywhere. But I kept going. That's what you do, isn't it? You keep going. After Richard died, my children stepped up in ways that made me so proud. Jennifer lived 20 minutes away with her husband Tom and their 2 teenage boys. Michael lived across town with his wife Rachel and their young daughter. They both have good jobs, nice homes, busy lives. They called regularly. They visited for holidays. I thought we were close. About 2 years ago, Jennifer suggested I add her name to my checking account. "Just in case something happens, Mom," she said, "so I can help you with bills if you get sick or need assistance." It made sense. She was my daughter. I trusted her completely, so I did it. Then Michael asked me to co-sign on a car loan for him. His credit had taken a hit during the pandemic, and he needed a reliable vehicle for work. "Just to help me get approved, Mom," he said. "I'll make all the payments. You won't have to do anything." He was my son. Of course I helped him. Jennifer's husband Tom started a small business, a landscaping company, and needed someone with good credit to help him secure a business loan. "You wouldn't have to pay anything, Hazel," he assured me. "Just sign as a guarantor. We'll handle everything." They were family. That's what family does. Rachel, Michael's wife, needed her name added to my credit card to build her credit back up after some financial troubles in her 20s. "Just as an authorized user, Hazel," she explained, "it'll really help me." How could I say no? The beautiful house Richard and I bought when we were just 30 years old, needed some updating. The roof was aging, the HVAC system was older than my grandchildren. Jennifer suggested we put her name on the deed too. "For estate planning purposes, Mom," she said. "It'll make things so much easier when the time comes. No probate, no hassle." My lawyer friend at church mentioned that wasn't exactly necessary, but Jennifer seemed so insistent about protecting me that I signed the papers. Looking back now, I can see it all so clearly. But when you're in it, when you're just trying to be a good mother, when you're trying to stay connected to your children after losing your husband, you don't see the web being spun around you. I kept working part-time at the library after I retired from teaching. Not because I needed the money, but because I needed the purpose. Richard's life insurance, our savings, his pension, my teacher's retirement, I was financially comfortable. Not wealthy, but comfortable. Enough to live well, travel a little, help my kids when they needed it. And I did help them. I helped Jennifer when her youngest needed braces. I helped Michael when Rachel lost her job for 3 months. I paid for family vacations to the beach. I bought birthday presents and Christmas gifts. I was Mom, and that's what moms do. 3 weeks ago, everything changed. It was a Sunday afternoon in November. We'd all gathered at my house for dinner, something we did once a month. I'd spent all morning cooking Richard's favorite pot roast, the one with the carrots and potatoes that Jennifer always loved. The house smelled wonderful. The table was set with the good china. Everyone arrived around 2 o'clock. The grandkids ran through the house like they always did. Tom and Michael stood in the kitchen drinking beer and talking about football. Rachel and Jennifer set the table and chatted about some sale at the mall. After dinner, after the kids had gone outside to play and the dishes were done, we all sat in the living room with coffee. That's when I brought it up. "I've been thinking," I said carefully, "about maybe selling the house." The room went quiet. Jennifer's coffee cup paused halfway to her mouth. "Selling?" Michael asked. "Why would you sell?" "It's too big for just me," I explained. 4 bedrooms, all this yard work. I was thinking maybe I could get a nice condo, something smaller, easier to maintain. Maybe travel more, spend Richard's life insurance money on seeing the world before I'm too old to enjoy it. I smiled when I said it. I thought they'd be supportive. I thought they'd understand. Jennifer and Michael exchanged a look. It was quick, just a flash, but I caught it. "Mom," Jennifer said slowly, setting down her coffee, "don't you think that's a bit impulsive?" "Impulsive?" I laughed. "I've been thinking about it for months." "You're 67 years old," Tom chimed in. "This is your home, Dad's home. Are you sure you want to make such a big decision?" "The real estate market is terrible right now," Michael added. "You'd lose so much money, and moving is stressful. At your age, that kind of stress." "At my age?" I felt my spine straighten. "I'm 67, not 97. Rachel put a hand on Michael's arm. "What Michael means is that you've been through so much. Losing Richard, adjusting to being alone. Maybe you should wait a bit longer before making such a huge change." "I appreciate your concern," I said, trying to keep my voice level. "But this is my decision. It's my house." "Actually," Jennifer said, and something in her tone made my stomach tighten. "It's our house too now, Mom. Your name and mine are both on the deed, remember? For estate planning." The way she said "our house" made something cold settle in my chest. "I only added your name for legal purposes," I said carefully. "After I'm gone." "Right, but legally we both own it now," Jennifer continued, "which means any decision about selling it should be a family discussion." I looked at my daughter, really looked at her. When had her face become so hard? "A family discussion," I repeated, "about my house that I've lived in for 40 years. "Mom, don't be dramatic," Michael said. "We're just saying you should think about this more carefully. Think about us." "Think about you?" "We're your family," Jennifer said. "This house will be ours someday. It has equity. It's an investment. You can't just sell it on a whim because you're feeling lonely." "I'm not lonely," I said, but even I could hear how my voice shook. "Look," Tom said, leaning forward, "here's the thing, Hazel. That business loan you guaranteed? My company is still getting established. If you sell this house and move somewhere smaller, your assets change, and that could affect my credit line. The bank might call the loan." I stared at him. "Your credit line." "And I'm still paying off that car you co-signed for," Michael added. "If you make big financial moves, it could impact my interest rate, maybe even flag my account. I could get hit with fees." "And I need to keep using your credit card to maintain my score," Rachel said, not quite meeting my eyes. "If you make changes to your accounts, it could hurt what I've built up." I looked around the room at these 4 people, these 2 children I'd raised, and their spouses I'd welcomed into our family. They were all looking at me with the same expression. Not concern, not love, calculation. "So what you're telling me," I said slowly, "is that I can't sell my house, can't manage my own money, can't make my own decisions because it might inconvenience all of you." "That's not what we're saying," Jennifer protested. "Then what are you saying?" Jennifer sighed, the kind of sigh you give a difficult child. "We're saying that you need to think about the family, not just yourself. You're not alone anymore, Mom. Your decisions affect all of us now." "Because I tried to help you," I said. "Because I added your names to things to make your lives easier." "Well, yes," Michael said, as if it were obvious. "That's what family does. We help each other." I felt something crack inside me. Not break, not yet, just crack. "I see," I said quietly. Tom stood up, clearly ready to leave. "Look, we don't want you to feel bad about this, Hazel. We're just being realistic. You're getting older. It's good that you have us to help guide these decisions." "Guide?" I repeated. "That's what kids do," Rachel said, actually smiling. "Eventually, the roles reverse, right? We take care of you now." Jennifer walked over and patted my shoulder. "Don't worry, Mom. We'll handle everything. You don't need to stress about these big decisions." And then Michael said the words that changed everything. "Honestly, Mom, He laughed, actually laughed. You should be grateful. We can manage all this for you. We can manage without you having to worry about it. Jennifer giggled, picking up her purse. Yeah, Mom, we've got this. You can just relax. They started gathering their things, calling for the kids, already moving on to whatever they had planned for the rest of their Sunday. I stood in my living room in the house I'd lived in for 4 decades and watched my children prepare to leave. They were laughing about something Tom had said, making plans for Thanksgiving, discussing what restaurant they'd try next weekend. Not one of them looked back at me. The door closed behind them, and I stood there in the silence. Around me were the remnants of the dinner I'd cooked, the good china I'd washed by hand, the pictures on the wall of their weddings, their children, their lives that I'd helped build. We can manage without you. Those words echoed in my empty house, and something inside me didn't just crack, it shattered. But from that shattered place came something else, something sharp and clear and absolutely certain. We were about to find out exactly how much they could manage without me. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in Richard's old recliner and thought about everything. Every account, every paper I'd signed, every time I'd said yes when maybe I should have asked more questions. By morning, I had a plan. I want to take a moment here to ask you something. If you're watching this and you've ever felt taken advantage of by the people you love, if you've ever realized that your kindness was being mistaken for weakness, hit that subscribe button. You're not alone. None of us are alone. Monday morning, I was at the bank when it opened at 9. I need to remove someone from my checking account, I told the manager, a nice woman named Susan who'd worked there for years. Of course, Mrs. Mitchell, she said. Is everything all right? Everything is fine, I said. I just need to make some changes. Jennifer's name came off my checking account, then off my savings account, then off the money market account that held most of Richard's life insurance money. I also need to order new credit cards, I told Susan. Someone stole my card number. I need to cancel all my cards and get new ones issued. It wasn't technically a lie. Someone had stolen something from me, just not my card number. Would you like us to issue new cards to your authorized users as well? Susan asked. No, I said. Please remove all authorized users from my accounts. Rachel's access to my credit card ended with the click of Susan's mouse. Next, I called the mortgage company where I'd co-signed Michael's car loan. I need to remove myself as a co-signer, I said. I'm sorry, ma'am, but you can't remove yourself from an active loan, the representative explained. The primary borrower would need to refinance in their name only. I understand, I said. What happens if I report the vehicle as not in my possession and that I want to disclaim responsibility? There was a pause. Well, that would trigger a review of the loan. If the primary borrower can't qualify on their own, the loan could be called due immediately. I see. Let me speak with my son about refinancing. How long does he have? We typically give 30 days notice for refinancing requirements. Thank you, I said, and hung up. I made the same call about Tom's business loan. The process was more complex, but the outcome was the same. As a guarantor, I could request to be removed, which would require him to find a new guarantor or pay off the loan. Then came the hard part. I called my real estate attorney, the one who'd handled Richard's estate. I need to remove someone from my property deed. Hazel, he said carefully, if Jennifer is on the deed as joint tenant with right of survivorship, she has ownership rights. You can't just remove her without her consent. What if we sell the property? I asked. Then you'd both have to agree to the sale and you'd both receive proceeds based on ownership percentage. And what if I wanted to sell and she didn't? That gets complicated. You'd potentially need to file a partition action to force a sale, which can be costly and time-consuming. I thought about this. What if I transferred my share to her, just signed it over? You could do that, but then you'd have no ownership in your own home. But I'd have no obligation to it either, correct? No liability. Well, correct, but Hazel, what's going on? I'm making changes, I said simply. Thank you for your help. I had one more call to make. The phone calls started 37 minutes after the bank closed that Monday. I was in my kitchen making myself a cup of tea when my phone rang. Jennifer's name flashed on the screen. I let it ring through to voicemail. She called back immediately. I declined it. A text message came through. "Mom, call me right now. Something's wrong with the bank account." Then Michael called, then Rachel, then Tom, then Jennifer again. My phone was lighting up like a Christmas tree. I turned on my computer and checked my email. 3 messages from Jennifer, 4 from Michael, 2 from Rachel, 1 from Tom's business partner, someone I'd never even met. "Mrs. Mitchell, there's been an issue with our credit line." I deleted them all. My phone rang again. Jennifer. This time I answered. "Hi, sweetheart," I said calmly. "Mom, oh my God, finally! What happened to the bank accounts? I tried to transfer money for groceries and it said I don't have access anymore." "That's correct," I said. "I removed you from my accounts." Silence. Then, "You what?" "I removed your name from all my accounts. They're my accounts, Jennifer. Just mine." "You can't do that. I need access to those accounts." "Why?" I asked simply. Because what if you need help? What if something happens?" "What if something happens?" I repeated. "You mean like I get sick or have an emergency?" "Yes." "Then I suppose I'll handle it myself. After all, you told me yesterday that you can manage without me. I thought I'd give you the chance to prove it." "Mom, that's not what I meant, and you know it." "Isn't it?" I kept my voice level. "You told me I couldn't sell my house because it would inconvenience you. You told me I couldn't make my own financial decisions because they might affect your credit lines and your business loans and your credit score. You told me I should just relax and let you handle everything. So I'm taking your advice. I'm relaxing, and you're handling everything. This is insane. You're being completely irrational." "Am I?" "Let me ask you something, Jennifer. How much money have you transferred from my checking account in the last year?" Silence. "Because I looked at my bank statements this morning. Really looked at them. And do you know what I found? Transfers to your account. Sometimes $50, sometimes $200, sometimes more. Regular as clockwork. What were those for?" "Those were for groceries when I was short, or for the boys' activities, or for things you wanted and decided I should pay for," I finished, "without asking me. You're my mother. You would have said yes, but you didn't ask," I said quietly. "That's the point. You just took it." Michael's name started flashing on my screen. "Call waiting." "Your brother's calling," I said. I imagine his car payment just bounced. "Mom, please." Jennifer's voice was frantic now. "You're making a huge mistake. We're your family." "Yes," I agreed. "You are, and I'm learning what that means." I hung up and answered Michael's call. "Mom, what the hell did you do to my car loan?" "Hello to you too, son." "The loan company just called me. They said you requested to be removed as a co-signer, and now I have 30 days to refinance or they'll repossess my car." "That's unfortunate," I said. "I hope your credit has improved since I co-signed for you." "You know it hasn't. I need that car for work. You can't do this." "Actually, I can. I did." "Why? What did I do?" "You told me you could manage without me," I said. "Here's your chance." "I didn't mean it like that." "Jesus, Mom, we were just trying to help you." "Help me," I repeated. "By telling me I can't sell my own house? By using my credit card without asking? By treating me like I'm incompetent?" "We never said you were incompetent." "Rachel called me yesterday to tell me what restaurant I should try for lunch this week. Tom explained to me how to use my own television remote, even though I've had that TV for 3 years. Jennifer schedules my doctor's appointments without asking me first. You called last week to tell me what I should cook for Thanksgiving, in my own house. We were being helpful." "No," I said. "You were managing me, taking control, making me irrelevant in my own life. But you all made it very clear that you can manage without me, so now you're going to. This is ridiculous. You're acting like a child." "I'm acting like someone who just realized she's been taken advantage of," I said. "There's a difference." "Fine," Michael shouted. "Fine, keep your money, keep your accounts, see if we ever help you again." "I won't need help," I said. "I've been managing just fine for 67 years. He hung up on me. The calls and messages continued all evening. Angry messages, pleading messages, messages telling me I was being unreasonable, selfish, crazy, messages telling me they were just trying to protect me, messages telling me I was going to regret this. Tom's business partner called to tell me I was jeopardizing a legitimate business over a family squabble. Rachel sent a long text about how hurt she was, how she thought I loved her like a daughter. How could I do this to her credit score? Jennifer left a voicemail saying she was concerned about my mental state and might need to look into options for my well-being. That last one made me laugh. It was a dark laugh, but still a laugh. I turned my phone off and went to bed. The next morning, I turned my phone back on to 43 new messages. I ignored them all and drove to my lawyer's office. "I want to sell my house," I told him. He looked concerned. "Hazel, we talked about this. Jennifer is on the deed. She'd have to agree." "I know," I said. "So, I'm going to make her an offer. I'll sign over my half of the house to her completely. She can have it, free and clear." "You'd be giving up your home?" "Would I?" I asked. "Or would I be giving up a burden? That house is big and old and expensive to maintain. The roof needs replacing, the HVAC system is dying, the property taxes keep going up. If it's in her name only, all of that becomes her problem. The maintenance, the taxes, the insurance, everything." Understanding dawned on his face. "And you'd be free to buy something smaller." "Exactly. Something in my name only. Something no one can claim any piece of." "She might not go for it." "She will," I said confidently, "because Jennifer likes to win. If I offer to just give her the house, she'll see it as a victory. She won't think about what comes with it." I was right. When I called Jennifer that afternoon and offered to sign over my half of the house to her, there was a long pause. "You'd just give me the house?" she asked suspiciously. "I would. You were right yesterday. It should be a family asset and your family. I'll sign whatever papers need to be signed. You'll own it outright." "What's the catch?" "No catch," I said. "I'll move out by the end of the month. The house is yours." Another pause. I could almost hear her thinking, calculating, convincing herself she'd won. "Fine," she said finally. "I'll take it." "Wonderful. I'll have my attorney draw up the papers." "But Mom," she added, her voice taking on that syrupy tone she used when she wanted something, "maybe we should talk about the bank accounts too. I really do need access in case—" "No," I said simply and hung up. 3 days later, I signed the papers transferring the deed entirely to Jennifer's name. My attorney looked sad when I did it. "Are you sure about this, Hazel?" "Completely sure," I said. That same day, I made an offer on a beautiful 2-bedroom condo in a new 55-plus community across town. It had a view of a small lake, a modern kitchen, and maintenance included in the HOA fees. No yard work, no repairs, no massive utility bills. I used Richard's life insurance money for the down payment. Money that had been sitting in an account, earning minimal interest because I'd been too afraid to use it, too worried about saving it for the kids who'd told me they could manage without me. Moving day was on a Friday. I'd hired professional movers and spent the week packing up 40 years of my life. I took what I wanted: my clothes, my books, Richard's favorite chair, our wedding china, the photo albums, a few pieces of furniture that meant something. I left everything else. Jennifer showed up around noon with Tom. They'd been driving by every few days to check on things, though they hadn't offered to help me pack. "You're really doing this," Jennifer said, watching. "The movers load boxes into the truck." "I really am. Where are you even going?" "I bought a condo," I said. "A beautiful place. You'll have to come see it sometime." "You bought a place? With what money?" "My money," I said simply. "The life insurance money from your father, my teacher's pension, my savings, my money." Tom walked through the house, and I could see him calculating, seeing the worn carpet, the outdated fixtures, the leak stain on the ceiling from the old roof. "You know," he said slowly, "this place needs a lot of work." "Yes," I agreed, "it does. But that's Jennifer's problem now. It's her house." Jennifer's face changed as reality started to sink in. "What do you mean, my problem?" "The house is in your name only now," I explained patiently, "which means you're responsible for it. The property taxes, the insurance, the repairs, the utilities, all of it. Congratulations on your investment." "But I don't want to live here. I have my own house." "Then you should probably put it on the market," I suggested. "Though, as Tom mentioned, it needs work. That'll affect your selling price. And the market is terrible right now. You might lose money." I watched her face cycle through emotions. Confusion, then understanding, then anger. You did this on purpose. I gave you exactly what you asked for, I said. You wanted the house. You have it. This isn't what I meant. No, I agreed. You meant you wanted to keep me from selling it so you could inherit it eventually, keeping me stuck here, maintaining it and paying for it while you waited. But here's what you didn't understand, sweetheart. I'm 67, not 97. I could live another 20 or 30 years. That's a long time to maintain a house you don't want just so someone else can inherit it. The movers finished loading the truck. My car was packed with the last few items. I'm leaving the utilities on until the end of the month, I told Jennifer. After that, you'll need to transfer them to your name. There's a binder on the kitchen counter with all the account information, the contractor numbers for when the roof finally caves in, and the name of the HVAC company that's been keeping that system alive through sheer force of will. Good luck. I walked to my car. Mom, wait, Jennifer called after me. You can't just leave. I turned back to look at my daughter, standing in the doorway of the house that was now hers and all the problems that came with it. Yes, I said calmly. I can. You told me you could manage without me. Prove it. I drove away and didn't look back. The aftermath. That was 3 weeks ago. Michael's car was repossessed last week. Apparently his credit wasn't good enough to refinance on his own, and he couldn't make the balloon payment the loan company demanded. He called to scream at me about it, but I'd already blocked his number. Rachel's credit score dropped 60 points when I canceled my credit cards, and she lost her authorized user status. She sent me a long email about how I'd ruined her financial future. I deleted it without responding. Tom's business loan was called due when I formally requested to be removed as guarantor. He had to take out a high-interest personal loan to cover it. His business partner sent me a threatening letter about legal action. My attorney sent them a letter back explaining that I'd done nothing illegal and advising them to cease contact. I haven't heard from them since. Jennifer did put the house on the market. It sat for 2 weeks before she got a lowball offer that she had no choice but to accept. Between the repairs the inspector required and the closing costs, she barely broke even. She's not speaking to me. I'm living in my beautiful condo by the lake. I wake up every morning to watch the sunrise over the water. I've joined a book club with other women in the community. I'm taking a watercolor painting class. I'm planning a trip to Italy next spring, something Richard and I always talked about but never did. My phone doesn't ring with demands anymore. Nobody asks for money or access to my accounts. Nobody tells me what I should or shouldn't do with my own life. The silence was deafening at first. But now? Now it sounds like freedom. Yesterday I got an email from Jennifer. Not an apology, but a tentative request to talk things through. I haven't decided if I'll respond yet. Because here's what I learned. Being a good mother doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. It doesn't mean letting your children use you. It doesn't mean accepting disrespect or being managed like a child yourself. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let your children stand on their own 2 feet, even when they're 40 years old and should have learned how already. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is remember that you matter too. I'm Hazel Mitchell. I'm 67 years old. I live in a beautiful condo by a lake in Ohio, and I can manage just fine without them, too.